Welcome you all once again. Rethinking the Environment 2024, organized by School of Fine Arts, Architecture and Technology. This session rest of further ado, I would like to directly call upon our first speaker, architect Rafiq Azam, while he gets ready with Environment 2024, organized by School of Fine Arts, Architecture and Azam is a principal architect of Chateau. This session, an architecture firm in Dhaka that specializes in architecture for green living. Further ado, I would like to directly call upon our first speaker, architect Rafiq Azam, when he gets ready with Environment 2024, organized by School of Fine Arts, Architecture. Since May 1995, he has been operating his own firm. He has received numerous awards for his work in art and architecture, including the Commonwealth Associations of Architects Robert Matthew Lifetime Achievement Award in 2022, AD 100 Most Influential Names in Architecture 2018, World Architecture Community Award 3 times in 2008, being shortlisted for the 2008, winning the AR Emerging Award in London in 2007, being a finalist for the Aga Khan Awards for Architecture in 2004 and 2007, and receiving the Berger Awards for Excellence in 2007, winner of the Asia Pacific Culture and Design Award in the year 2007, and recipient of the South Asian Awards for Architecture 4 times, just to name a few. If the technical is ready, we may now start.
Sir, you may proceed with your presentation.
the architecture that must be revealed also. Only then it becomes your own architecture. After that, I was very interested to know what is Bangladesh. Very briefly, if I say, you can see half of the Bangladesh is actually belongs to very much tropical, and half of the upper part, northern part, is actually not tropical. So Bangladesh is a country in between tropics and not tropics. So it's very interesting, like seashore or sea beach, or like evening, which doesn't belong to the night or neither to the day, or the sea beach neither belongs to the land, or the water is in between. Something in between is always very interesting, very beautiful, very vulnerable, very fragile, you know. So that's very interesting. That's why Bangladesh is a very fragile country, and having 6 seasons, because we have so much variations, not like very bluntly, but very subtle variations. But those are very significant also. So this is how I conceive Bangladesh. And also, if you see, most of the Himalayan water on the southern side is through Bhutan or India. Somehow it's going through coming through Bangladesh. So we have many rivers, like more than 50 major rivers and 1200 or more than 1200 channels, river channels, water channels, carrying all the water of Himalayan that coming through Bangladesh through Bay of Bengal. And simultaneously, the rain in the monsoon starts from like South India, like Kerala or Kovalam beach, and then it started raining through Bangladesh, gradually increasing and decreasing like a wave of music, like Kerala 3000 millimeter and entering Bangladesh 3000, 2500, and Dhaka 2000 millimeter, and gradually increasing in Sylhet 3500 or 4000 millimeter, and ends up in Cherrapunji, the one of the highest rain in the world is 12,000 millimeter. So you see the crisscross from the top, the water coming down, from the below, water going through, and it's a crisscross in Bangladesh, the whole about water, water and water. So we are almost like a fish. So you can see almost like 2 million square kilometer area of water on from the top, from the 3 basins, coming down all the water through Bangladesh, which is 150 square kilometer area, and you can see how big amount of water actually Bangladesh is receiving from other parts of the world. So that's why people think Bangladesh is a country of toil and flood and storm and things like that. But actually, that's not for long. But the long time, what is happening in Bangladesh? Bangladesh is actually receiving a huge amount of water, which is the most powerful element or resource of the world. So in monsoon, Bangladesh is a very beautiful country. It's the most poetic country in the world, and inundates 2/3 of the country's land, depicting water as a major element of landscape. And then water gradually recedes after 2.5 months is going back and keeping some alluvial soil, and the entire land transformed into large patches of paddy fields and then dancing with the winds. So this is how the beauty of Bangladesh we can see and we can utilize, and that's the reason I used to do watercolor painting, which is very obvious. And you can see some of my works. This look like some part of, watercolor painting, sort of the reflection, the green and the water. And this is another architecture, which is, you can see as the water, the greeneries and things are the sky. And I also like the sound of water, not only the water without silence, but sound of water, the music of the light, and also cascading green and light together entering into deep. It's like, and also I like the untamed green, not only untamed green, also tamed green, very cultivated green, which is very much inspired by our landscape. And also I love to see how the light is penetrating into deep in my project, and also it's like dancing within. and then the incline in the afternoon, it inclines and inclines, and it's stretching and it's stretching its last light to twilight. But after the dark night, crossing the any sort of foggy winter morning, the first light, when it touches the land and water, it turns into watercolor again. So to me, architecture is very poetic, like watercolor or like a painting. Um, so one stage, I started thinking, rethinking my country where I used to live in Dhaka, which is almost like tropical, or you can say tropical. So how we should deal with the urban tropicality? Because see, in the rural area, tropicality is beautiful. But the urban dense city like Dhaka, how we will be rethinking the urban tropicality? Definitely, tropicality is all about green and water and moisture and things like that. And this is one project we did in 2001. This is a drawing from 2001, where almost like 22, 23 years back, when I think whole world was not thinking about much of green architecture. Of course, my green architecture is not typically the today's green architecture is not coming from the point marking on points. It's coming from the Bangladeshi lush green and water and rain and sunlight and things like that. So this is what I started thinking, that how we should deal with urban tropical architecture. So I started calculating how the sun is moving, how it inclines in the winter, and it comes back on the vertex in the summer, and the wind coming from southeast or southwest, some wind coming without rain, some wind coming with the rain water, and then how to plant every floor, upper floor are large, long trees, and creating every floor actually tropical floor. So this is all the details we started doing, and then coming up like a swimming pond. We call it swimming pond. Means we should have steps into the water, which I think in India also we call it ghatla or ghats, and the large trees like a jangla or the sort of untamed forest. So this is how rethinking the built environment, not typical swimming pool, a swimming pond. So this is what we ends up with this that house. It's like a very untamed Bangladeshi landscape with the water and rain and things like that. And gradually we were doing similar lot of things, like we told every floor should be the ground floor. I mean, since we have beautiful light, alluvial soil, we have rain, why not we can create every floor full of greeneries and becomes the ground floor. So I love to live always connected to ground. I don't want to go 20-story high without my belongings like water and green and birds and sunlight and the sky and all the things together. I would like to go up and up and up in the sky, but with my belongings. So this is upper floor, level 4. Still you can see lot of greeneries and living in a tropical area with the beauty of all the natural things. And this is another upper level floor. And then we need to actually rethink. The subject, the conference on rethinking is not a constant word. I mean, it's a continuously changing word. We must rethink and rethink and rethink every possible time and project. We need to rethink and reinvent the newness and the nowness together. So rethinking the history, Bangladesh is a very, very old country. We have almost like 3,000 years old historical evidences, like Buddhist monasteries, for example, is more than 2,500 years old of history. So if you see such a beautiful courtyard created by the Buddhist monasteries, for educational purpose. These are all viharas or universities for enlightenment, Buddhist enlightenment. So when we started designing Aga Khan Academy, the school, the first thing we started thinking we must connect our historical educational history with in terms of all senses like space quality, the material, the education, enlightenment, all the things together. We came up some ideas like Aga Khan Academy with a beautiful brickwork, weaving of the brick, mastery of the brick of Bengal civilization with number of courtyards. So this is what you can see, the one of the Buddhist monasteries here you can see. And then our plan is something like is inspired by the Buddhist monasteries and the brickworks, which is most of the brickworks is actually dilapidated because of the moisture and rain and other things. But the essence of brick is there. So we actually incorporated sort of half scientific approach. It's coming out from the archaeology, but it's going towards the future. So this is what you can see, the final master plan surrounded by a beautiful large field, which is the spirituality in the middle and surrounded by buildings and courtyards. So here you can see one of the part of the building, and you can see the plant, since we call it the education, a didactic place. Didactic means something which can teach you. You can learn out of it without somebody teaching you, like teachers are teaching you. Here is the idea is we will learn from the environment and the structure, not by just teaching by the teachers. So the tree you can see called is Butia monasperma, which is actually palas, red flowers. A local name is Dhak. So Dhaka name actually, there is a legend that says that it came from the Dhak trees because we have millions of Dhak trees in Dhaka. I mean thousands of Dhak trees in Dhaka, red flowers. So we planted the first courtyard, the tree, the children can learn out of it that the Dhaka name came from, probably these trees. And this you can see the central courtyard with the amphitheater and the brick rafting is all important to reflect our history, our education, and our mastery of the brick and the nowness. And you can see the children are really giggling. And this is the field, the large field, and this is some of the interiors, the library, and the tiny gardens in the above floors. And this is what the amphitheater full of children, pupils, and the teacher is addressing. So that's the space quality that children will be learning, and the vastness, the power of space will make them hopefully very powerful. And this is what the last slide you can see. The benches are almost like archaeological, and then it's coming out as a full building gradually and showered by the winter light in the morning. And when we move from our country to another country, still tropical, so you can see the Malaysian project, which is actually the client is very powerful, client is very aggressive, client is very rich, client is one of the largest developer in Southeast Asia. So tropical antiquity, which is like we want to create something very classical, very powerful for them, but also tropical. So this is what we came up, 11-story columns with the super roof, actually shading the most of the sun and creating the powerful statement of tropicality. And then the whole semi-basement roof is actually turned into water body, very shallow water body, which is not more than like 200 millimeter sort of, or 600 millimeter or sort of rainwater collecting pond, and the whole building on it. But below is actually 350 cars So it justify the tropicality, collecting rain, and in fire hazard, it is very useful for fighting the fire and also giving the sense of the tranquility. Uh, I think it's not moving. Can you? Right. Okay. So you can see one of the courtyard on the top level of the office, and this is you can see in the afternoon when you can see the whole water body looks like a very deep sort of ocean, but basically it's a very shallow water body. So we can recreate, we can rethink and recreate. So, rethinking diplomacy is another project we started working in Bhutan. Diplomacy is always like very friendly or very technical, very tectonic, very, very interesting relationship, friendship, and everything. But rethinking diplomacy, how we can rethink through architectural process, architectural space making, we can create better friendship, better relationship. The Bhutan is, all surrounded by Himalayas, and we used to call Bhutan as a daughter of Himalayas or princess of Himalayas, and it's all surrounded by Himalayas. So the lifeline is Himalayas, and Bangladesh lifeline is all the water coming down from Himalayas. So Bangladesh lifeline is the water that's coming from Himalayas. So you see all the water historically for millions of years, all the water coming down from Himalayas through India, through Bhutan and India to Bangladesh. So we are connected geographically, historically through water for many thousands of years. And then also Bhutan is very happy to accept that, or they recognize that the Buddhist monastery, Buddhist enlightenment that actually Bhutan is practicing and having a peaceful country is actually offered from Bangladesh. It's a gift from Bangladesh to them. As you mentioned earlier, the historical, archaeological sites of Buddhist monasteries, actually Buddhism created their hub in Bangladesh for many thousands of years and spread all over the country from Australia to Canada. So this is a gift to Bhutan. So Bhutan is very happy to have it from Bangladesh, and that's the reason Bhutan actually helped us during our war in 1971 and gave us recognition as the first country to recognize Bangladesh as independent country. So we not only was examining all the historical connections, geographical connections, but also we are checking out the traditional courtyard that they have. We have also similar sort of courtyards, and they have beautiful windows that we don't have. They have large canopies on the roof. Bangladesh is also having large canopies because of the rain situation. So there are many similarities with some not similarities, also very interesting. So we are also interested to understand how the sun is moving, how it inclines further and further on the south in winter, and the amount of rain you can see, which is 1599 millimeter annually, and Bangladesh is almost like 3000 millimeter per year. So we are not very far away, but we have more rain, they have a little less rain. But interestingly, the average temperature in summer, which is 17.70 degrees Celsius, that means in summer is always beautiful. It's like in the summer we used to use air condition, which is supposed to be 24 degrees Celsius, but there 17 degree average means maybe 20 degree or 22 degrees Celsius in summer, which is fantastic. We don't need any air conditioning system. So we can save our money in our building, and then low temperature is like 3.9 degree, which is very cold, which is required heating system. So how can you use the sun in the winter, which is inclined on the south, and taking deep into through the glass to create a greenhouse effect inside the building and make it warmer to reduce the use of heating system. So these are the decisions we used to take through data, through history, through typological studies. These are very important to come up a decision for designing purpose. And this is what our site is red color, which is actually 1.5 acres of land, not that big, opposite to the St. Supreme Courtyard done by Indian architect, which is very close friend of my Christopher Benninger. And you can see my building is looking towards green part of Himalayas and also Thimphu River. The river's it's going down gradually. So my drainage system is not a bad situation. I can put all the water to the river and we can see the beautiful green Himalayas. And this is what we have created, a small water body which is in the central courtyard. We call it Bay of Bengal, as if we collecting water from Himalayas and putting it and calling it Bay of Bengal, which is Bangladesh, now at the feet of Himalayas. Now Himalaya can see the water she created is the Bay of Bengal, belongs to Bangladesh, now came together, and that's how we coming together and creating our diplomatic relationship. This is how we are rethinking our relationship. So you can see the courtyard with the water and the buildings are surrounded by it. And this is what you can see, the courtyard, water court and green court, and surrounded by buildings, all collected, all are collecting the sunlight in the winter from the southern side and the western side, so making it warmer. So this is how the building came up. We also following the Bhutanese most of the rules, because we don't want to break the rules, though we have the ability to break the rules. I mean, as an embassy, we can build whatever we feel like. Like India has built completely sort of modern building, which is nothing to do with the Himalayan architectural language, but we actually respecting their language because we know, we know how they earn money through tourism and showing people similar sort of buildings, not just different type of buildings. So this is helping them in their financial development. Our role should be there positively. So you can see a big window punch. So still I can see the old Himalayas from the street, which was for a long time is there. We didn't want to hide it completely from the people's eye. So we have created a social window to connect still the Himalayas in the background. So using first time concrete because Himalaya, the country is very vulnerable in terms of seismic condition. And still you can see the courtyard with the water and the reflection of the Himalayas. And this is what in the evening. And rethinking archaeology, but interestingly, if you see that when we started working in Pakistan, Pakistan is exactly opposite to Bhutan, not our friends, not many years actually they are friendly with us, no connection in terms of, water or culture or any other ways, but we came together as East and West Pakistan and end up with fighting each other and killing 3 million people of Bangladesh by Pakistanis. So no way Pakistan is our friend, but when the embassy comes because of South Asian relationship, we cannot be enemies anymore. We need to be at least friendly environment we need to create to become a peaceful South Asia. We need to build embassies. So how to deal with the situation? This is another completely different situation. Not only different in terms of climatological aspect, many other aspects. Like climatologically, they have 52 degrees Celsius in summer, and in winter, Islamabad becomes 1 degree, 2 degrees Celsius, very freezing actually. But Bangladesh is absolutely fantastic climate. We have like 38 degrees Celsius and probably 16 or 18 degrees Celsius in the winter or similar, So in all senses, this is very far away from each other. So what is the thing we can connect each other? We just cannot connect. We just cannot connect in many ways. So finally, we came to conclusion that archaeologically 5,000 years old Mohenjo-daro. If you see the beautiful brick structure, and this is the Great Bath, you can see the steps down. It's full of water. Now it's all disappeared, but similar to Bangladesh archaeological sites, Paharpur, which is like 8th century BC or before, we have also similar things. So we have a very interesting connection historically in terms of civilization. So it took the advantage of connecting historically, not in a current way, which is very difficult to connect to Pakistan. So this is what my site belongs to, a large 7,000 high the Margala Hill, and we have a very humble building over there, which is very contrast to each other, and is still showing that power of humbleness and the ruggedness of the Himalayas. So this is what we came up, very archaeological Lahore brick, locally available brick structure, which looks like archaeological sites, and also covered by a huge super roof, which is 500 feet long roof with the punctures to connect some rain, collect some rain, and also some sunshade, but creating shallow water body for moisturizing the whole area as much as possible to cool down the temperature use of air conditioning system and heating system. Rethinking built environment is my last portion of the lecture. I'll be sharing three projects basically. After roaming around the world, lecturing here and there, teaching different universities and learning more and more, or trying to learn more and more, finally I thought after COVID that actually what I'm achieving, what I'm looking for, where I'm going towards actually. Then I looked back to my old part of Dhaka where I born and brought up. I left when I was like 22, 24, 25 years old, and I went back and I saw the old Dhaka is actually dilapidating further and further, losing the quality of built environment, and I'm doing nothing, and I'm just achieving some awards and projects and probably earning a little bit of my money also for survival or a better life, but I'm actually doing nothing for my community. So architecture not doing for community is a big question for me. So architecture for common people, I started rethinking how to connect with the common people rather than only rich people or group of people. And then I call it coming back home, and you see how old Dhaka is dilapidating and it's really ruining down. Its quality of environment is really painful. What to do? So I think I am also lucky in terms of Jalaluddin Rumi, a 12th century philosopher, says that what you are seeking is seeking you. Actually, what I was seeking actually was also seeking me, probably. That's why the city corporation mayor asked me, can you help us by improving the quality of all the open spaces like green fields and parks and small water bodies, mostly dilapidated, mostly illegally occupied and anti-socially occupied and not used rightly, and they can't do for last 50 years. They cannot manage it last 50 years in a better way. Any other way we can think, rethink, and develop the spaces in a better way. So that was a great opportunity for me and for my team. We came up with certain ideas and philosophies, like we call it Old Dhaka, a new story. Dhaka should be green and aqueous, water and green together. And the first project we did, which is actually a mosque, and you know Dhaka is very famous for Mughal mosques. Last 400 years, Mughal built number of mosques with typological understanding, and we got a mosque actually which belongs to which actually part of the oldest graveyard of old Dhaka. So age of graveyard, a mosque, how we should proceed. We simply proceed like the mosque should be threshold space in between terrestrial and celestial. One side is very busy, noisy street and the world, and the other side is very silent, tranquil, celestial graveyard. So no world actually. It's the other world. So in between, the mosque is a connector. It can connect both the areas, the world and the celestial world together, so people can understand they can be part of the world and anytime they can be part of the terrestrial or celestial world. So this is how we created the spirituality in the middle of the mosque, which is actually Shan, inspired by the Mughal mosque. So you can see the green patch is the edge of the graveyard, and this is how we created the puncture in the middle of the building, which actually connecting the street and the celestial graveyard and separating the service area and the served area, or the mosque itself is the served area. And you can see the mosque, the served area, and the ramp, the car parking, the ablutions and toilets and stairs and other things, the other part, the right hand side part. And this is what you can see the mosque. On the southern side is a dense, heavily built the terrestrial world, and the other side is very tranquil, very green, celestial world and silent. But interesting part, the challenging part, we started learning that the mosque is actually built by a person who is the political party leader, the now political party who is running the government. He is the leader of the political party, and you can see how the politics works in our country. The father of the nation and the prime minister is still out. The prime minister, current prime minister, photographs is the smallest, and gradually the local leaders and the mayor with the suit and tie with the black hair, you can see the mayor, his photograph is large a little bit, but the contractor itself himself is the biggest photograph, and he's the local political leader, so his photograph comes the biggest one. So you understand he is the power over there, and he is going to build. Actually, he is going to rehabilitate. Government actually rehabilitating this sort of people, and they can earn money out of it by ruining the architectural project and just earning money and doing not much, not rightly things, not quality things. This is the strategy, this is the hegemony going on for many, many years. We wanted to break it, we want to create some new ideas. So we actually sat with him and calculated that he can earn a lot of more money if he can listen to us and he can follow our people and follow our drawings and follow the expert people who can produce things for brickwork, for glasswork. So directly they can come and work for him, and he can pay less money rather than giving money to his deputies and subcontractors, and they're all actually stealing money and doing bad works for him. So he understood, and finally he actually produced this beautiful brickwork building, and he earned better money out of it. And this is the sketches, the sections you can see. And this is how the brickwork happened, very carefully done. And the person walking, actually, he was the contractor's first choice. Actually, we provided him because he is very good at construction, this sort of brick. And you can see in the twilight the courtyard, which is a public space for the community, and you can see the mosque inside and the glass bridge. A place for women, we can pray over there. And inside the mosque, you can see they connected to the graveyard from the window, through the window, and the skylight coming. The imam who will be actually leading the jamaat, or the people who will be praying, the imam will be under the beautiful light from the sky, heavenly light, and the floor is beautiful. All space belongs to him, rather than putting a mihrab, which is a normal thing in the mosque. We didn't do that. It was a very challenge for us. But anyway, we did it. Now we move on. The real sort of, we did 31 parks and projects, parks and playgrounds. to be revitalized. And you see, one of the parks, I mean, the playground was really bad shape for last 30 years. Was we were all unable to do anything, any improvement. So, but we interestingly we did a lot of research and finally came up to this current situation of this the same old playground. The way we did it, actually, I'll explain last two projects, how we did it. That will be my end of presentation. So now you can see architecture for conflict resolution. The Larsen playground is one large area. We were supposed to work with the old field, and that we need to improve the field. But we when saw the field, the area belongs to mostly Hindu community. They are staying there for many years. They have a crematorium. They have a Kali temple, and but now there are a lot of Muslim people over there because of the increasement of population density, and they don't feel like comfortable to each other because open to air burning, body burning is polluting the area, and also they don't like it, Muslims, but they cannot solve it, the problem. But when we saw, actually, this is the pond, is dilapidated, is dumping ground, and right hand side, left hand side, see the Hindu graveyard, actually, beside the crematorium open to sky. So this is the field we supposed to improve, and we declined to government to improve the field because this will create big problem. Then both the community will be fighting to each other, who will be winning, who will be using the field, improved field. That will be a big question. So you can see in the middle, the field quality is really bad, and right hand side top, you can see the pond is, there's a pond which is completely covered by the dumping ground. You can see the public toilet is completely devastated. And you can see the pond finally, this is a very bad shape and all illegal occupation all around. Finally, we actually recovered it. We have a lot of philosophical understanding and research. And finally, we came up with this beautiful pond filled up with the rainwater because we have a lot of rain. And now you can see the community is really enjoying the space. And you can see the pond again from the another view. And this is the plan. Actually, the field is, we improved the field, but we also improved the pond, and we built a small building crematorium with the machine, with the cremator, so nobody can see the gases and the pollution is happening all around. And we also improved, there is a saint's bazaar or tomb who actually donated the field for the community. So we improved the community, the tomb, surrounded by library, gymnasium, public toilet, and coffee shop and things like that. So finally, we came to this solution: the field itself, and surrounded by walkways, collecting the rainwater, and the pond, and all the mazar and tomb, everything cremated. It was an old photograph. Now we can see how we improved it. You can see the conical, that's the crematorium for the Hindu community, and the public space. And you can see the crematorium and the Hindu community gathered. And this is what you can see, the Muslim, the minaret of the mosque and the Hindu crematorium beside the Kali Mandir, and the public space all belongs together. So harmony came. And the field is really bad situation it was. Now it improved totally. And then you can see the whole thing together, the mazar and other things together, creating a community. So architecture can create community stronger further and further. The last project is Last for Life, the Rasulbagh Community Park, Shishu Park. This is the only way we can go to the park. There's no other way. You have to walk with 1 meter width, roughly, the corridor, and in monsoon it flooded, and if not monsoon, it's really unhealthy. And you reach the park, it's like surrounded by wall, and the walls are illegally occupied with the shops, so it's very difficult to see even what is inside. And this is what the only drain collecting rainwater, and collecting also 19 houses sewer system, and the whole thing is illegally occupied, and one shower is flooded and staying for months, and you can see the live sewer is floating around, which is extremely unhealthy for people and particularly for the children. And if you see the inside, is plant is like dirty. There is a building for the veterinary purpose built, never happened any function, but illegally occupied by the political party office. Now it's very difficult to push them out, get them out. And then you can see that we call it public children's park, which is absolutely not acceptable. And for last 40 years, it's happening like this. What we did actually, we developed almost four philosophical understanding. One is every parks and playgrounds must be all the surrounding walls and birdwares or grills or fencing should be removed and completely open and telling people it's yours. Nobody is going to tell you stop. There's no gate. Everybody can go there and can occupy. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, doesn't matter. So it will be owned by them. But we cannot give them open, just not taking it properly done. I mean, taking care of properly. Another big problem is the rainwater. Huge rain, and it's always flooded, and then mosquitoes and all waterborne diseases is suffered by the children, particularly is happening. So we manage the water actually. We have a crisis of drinking water, but we have a huge amount of rainwater we cannot use. We die for drinking water, and we die for malaria and dengue and other things. Very funny and interesting. So we started calculating amount of water, collecting amount of rainwater, and filtering, and then giving back it to the community as a drinking water. So we started conversation with the people and listening their sufferings and the problems and how to resolve the problems. Together, we started sorting out. And then we also started talking to the old people because the young people, old people sit together and ends up with fighting and arguments. We found we should do it separately. And we did it, and finally we actually presented amongst all the people in the same park that what are the decisions we have taken for execution. And you can see the background, the building, old building, and the same day they end up the meeting with a big fight. And this is what we came up with the idea, the walkways, the field will be open for everybody. Everyone can come. People only walking, people running, people playing football and cricket, people reading books, children playing with the jungle gym, people sitting down ideally, people going to the mosque. And this becomes no more a particular destination that I'm going to the mosque, I'm going to park this evening. No, the idea is I'm going to anywhere through the park. So park is no more a destination, it became a way to the destination. So I use cross park every day for every reason, go to my purpose. So now the park is totally under use. And the walkway is actually containing a deep 5 feet deep, 1.5 meter and 1.5 meter sort of trench, which can collect all the water, rainwater separately and for drinking purpose and filtering and then drinking, giving back for drinking purpose. So you can see the section, you can see both the sides, trenches are there, and the dirty drain water has been separated, so it cannot contaminate the rainwater. So this is how we separated, we collected rainwater, and we started cutting the trench, making the trench, and you can see the trench started one drain collecting water, and then we cannot make things, big things over there, we cannot take material inside. This is so narrow. So we only built 1200 pieces of these slabs, concrete slabs, which actually did all the things, actually it's covered and everything and creating the space. And now finally, we dismantle the wall as a philosophical execution, dismantling the disrespect and distrust rather than dismantling only a physical wall. And then it turned into a space and you see all the people gone to the other side, opening their shops legally rather than illegally. And now you see after the rain, immediately it's much more beautiful. It's a beautiful park, and it's raining. So rain is no more a pain, it's a celebration. And you can see the earlier photograph, the same spot now you can see is full of plants and like a beautiful garden, and it's made by the children themselves of the community. They planted all the plants and the fruit, orchard, very tiny local fruits like chiku and custard apple and star fruits and things like that. Very humble and simple. More and more they are coming, and more and more birds are coming, and children are coming. They are eating, birds are eating. They're seeing each other, knowing each other, and they will be running after butterflies. No more drugs. That was the philosophy. And now you can see the adolescent girls are coming out, which is almost like non-existent in our society. They normally they don't come out because in fear, and the environment, built environment is not favorable for them to come out. So you can see the children coming out with the colorful dresses like colorful flowers, and this is how the surrounded community improved their renting out houses increased 20-25%. So their earning also improved because of the improvement of the green space. So you can see from the distance top view, the mosque is also improved little bit. Lack of money, we couldn't do that. But the building actually finally we managed to push them out, the political people out of it, and converted this building into women's club, community library, gymnasium, and coffee shop, which finally came out like this. And you can see the children are inside, and it's a very popular library nowadays. It's always full of people over there. And the women's club is always, the old town, old Dhaka people are very religious, many women. They used to come here, they sit, the children can come, they can play, they can draw pictures here. And finally, this park is look like this, but you see the adjacent community, the situation is really very challenging. In fact, inside park, very hard to manage. It doesn't match with the outside, and then we had to put people over there. These people are from our own office. People want to keep it and show people, show the community. Maintenance is very important. So they are actually maintaining everything for last 4-5 years. Now you can see the people are collecting water, very fresh water for last 5-6 years, and they're very happy to have the water every time for last many years. And finally, you can see the children are laughing, they are just playing over there. The whole purpose of doing architecture or any profession, the purpose is to ensure our children is growing up safely and happily. That we are trying hard to do through our architecture. So last I have 3 minutes slides, 3 minutes video, which was built for United Nations and UIA, which won the award also as one of the finest project of 21 finest project in the world. So that will be the last thing that I'm sharing with you. This is the evening, the new evening came to Dhaka, old Dhaka, and this is what we call it, old Dhaka news story. This is the I'm running this one. I hope you can listen also. If you can sound, no problem.
এক সময় এই জায়গার অবস্থাটা খুবই খারাপ ছিল। এখানে গাদা হইতো, বৃষ্টি হলে পানি জমে থাকতো, এর মধ্যে ময়লা, ড্রেনের ময়লা ভাসতো, মানুষ কোনোভাবেই এখানে আসতে পারতো না। এলাকার স্থানীয় যারা বসবাস করে তারাও এখানে আসতে ভয় পাইতো, কারণ বিভিন্ন ধরনের ক্রাইম হইতো। আজকে আমরা মহিলারা মেয়েরা এখানে আসতে পারতেছি, ইজিলি লাইব্রেরি আছে, বসতে পারতেছি, নিচে মহিলা মহল আছে। এখন আমরা যে কোনো সময় ইচ্ছে করলে আসতে পারতেছি, বসতে পারতেছি, রাতেও আসতে পারি আমরা।
এখানে একটা সুপেয় পানির ব্যবস্থা করা হয়েছে এলাকাবাসীর জন্য, যেটা জীবাণুমুক্ত দূষণমুক্ত পানি। এই পানিতে এলাকার প্রতিটা লোক এইখান থেকে পানি নিয়ে খায়।
আজকে 27 বছর যাব আমরা দৌড়াইতেছি, কিন্তু এটা হয় না, এটা হয় না।
এটা নিয়ে অনেক মারামারি কাটাকাটি হয়েছে এবং লোকও মারা গেছে এই মাঠে। এখন অনেক সুন্দর হয়েছে, আগের থেকে অনেক সুন্দর। অনেক লোকজন আসা যাওয়া করে, বসে নামাজ টামাজ পরে এই বেঞ্চে বসে দেখার মতন। হ্যাঁ, আগে তো আমাদের এরকম ছিল না। হ্যাঁ, এখন ছেলেমেয়েরা খেলতে পারে, দুইটা মাঠ হয়েছে, একটা বড় জন্য খেলে, ছোটো জন্য খেলে। আমরা বিকেলবেলা এসে একটু ঘুরতে পারি, বসতে পারি, কোনো ঝগড়া নেই, লড়াই নেই। আমরা সবাই মিলেমিশে একসঙ্গে চলাফেরা করি। আগের থেকে অনেক উন্নত হয়েছে, অনেক অনেক।
স্কুলটা এসে সারাদিন বাসা বসে থাকতাম, হপার মাঠটা অনেক সুন্দর করা পরে আমি খেলতে পারি।
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee of the conference, I would like to express our utmost gratitude towards architect Rafiq Azam for his valuable time and his wonderful insights into architecture. In light of that, I request the technical team to have an on-screen display of the certificate we have prepared.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, we will have a display of the certificate that we have prepared. Sir, can you see it on your screen?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the certificate, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm honored for inviting me. Thanks to Mizoram University.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to raise a question before sir leaves us, the session is open for that. Sure. Okay. I suppose there is no extra time for that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. So, is it done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So, thank you very much everyone for listening and giving me the opportunity to share our ideas. Hope enjoy or rest of the seminars. Wish you all the best. Great, thank you.
Moving on, I would like to introduce our second keynote speaker, Professor Ramesh Srikonda, who is currently serving as the director in
Actual design process what and master plan thinking whatever we are having. That is what design thinking, what we say at the big farm level. That totally depending upon the usage of the infrastructure. And then straining the infrastructure once it is going to be more, then what way it has to be addressed through the density gradient analysis throughout the city and to the different land use zones, whatever we are having. So this is one area where we have to really look at it. And then second one is infrastructure and built environment. I think I am finding it difficult to take it for a second. Yeah. Now you can can see the kind of infrastructure, that's a transportation hubs, and the roads and lanes, and the kind of parks and playgrounds, and the recreation areas, and the kind of areas where the city has got its own image in terms of the particular town, what it has got. It is been getting overstrained because of the high level population growth and unorganized development. When there is such a kind of an unorganized development, we are having what are the ways we can able to look at the things like organized development in terms of there are several things which we are seeing in transit-oriented development, and then compact city development, and other developments what we see is specifically fringe area development. These kind of densities and other things once it is getting increased, in what way we can able to bring the thought process in terms of the infrastructure. That's infrastructure, especially yeah, it is better. I think I can keep the messages. So these are the built environment specifically related to what? Whenever we get a built environment, in what way we are going to address it? First, the kind of solutions like the different land use zones we are having. In the land use zones, residential, commercial, industrial, or institutional, all these areas we as an architect, how do you address it? Addressing in terms of its land potentiality, land utilization systems, and then climate, and other items like what it is going to get influenced, topography, climate, and other items which is influencing the nearby land uses, traffic generation points, and the connectivity, all other items which it is going to create an impact on the built environment. Shaded analysis, sun path diagram, all these are the wind close diagrams, all other items we have to overlay and think about the built form and built environment, in what way we can able to bring, and such kind of infrastructure, the connectivity of the services from the municipal services. So that these kind of areas where we can able to address it. Limited green spaces. That what I am speaking, that what we have seen is water and the green spaces. They have been developed and people are keep enjoying it. Green spaces meant for two parts. One, in what way that vegetation index is overall it is going to contribute to the pocket of the space what it has been designed for different type of development process. Whether that built environment, specifically I keep telling you, a built environment has to be seen on the basis of the floor area what is being getting used, and floor area versus occupancy. Occupancy versus related to the open spaces what we are giving. The open spaces which we are meant for the paved and non-paved areas. When it comes to the non-paved and forest areas, then what extent the vegetation is going to get addressed. That vegetation related index in what way it is going to provide per person how much square meters of the area we have provided. So in a master plan level, 8 square meters to 10 square meters space we have to provide for the green space. Such times once you are not in a position to make it to the city level, in urban level, and the built level, built farm level, then what way these green spaces can be addressed? The green spaces is not only that just a piece of land you mark for the green space. There are so many ways where we can able to address. Such kind of things, what kind of a vegetation and paved and non-paved surfaces and vegetation, soft and hard surfaces, what we are going to design. In what way we wanted to quantify it? Quantification of that related to per person how much green space is required to reduce the heat island effect. What exactly heat island? That surface temperature, land use and land cover, LST land surface temperature is getting increased because of the climate change. Then how do we make it resilient and adaptable conditions we have to bring it in what mitigate the introduction of the green spaces. The green are terrace greens like terrace gardens, are greens of the staggering balconies where we can able to attract the sunlight, where we can able to grow such kind of a green spaces. As an architect, as a built space builder, those are the green spaces all over the urban areas, whatever we have seen. Such limited green spaces also we can able to enhance it by introduction of the green walls, introduction of the water and the green space, introduction of the terrace gardens, and scattered balconies where these kind of a sun path related aspects which it can really requires for its growth level of the plants and the green covers which we can able to look at it. So this is one area where generally we have to look at it at a time when you are going to make climate change related aspects what we have glaringly observed for past 1 decade. For instance, we will tell you like last time when we made for the energy efficient housing in India, there was a competition conducted by Building and Housing and Social Foundation by Legislature United Kingdom. That is in 1992. Before the Kyoto Protocol, what we have seen that the summits and other even recent summits, whatever we have seen, Paris Protocol, even Kyoto Protocol, it also makes a human try about the carbon is like CNG gases which is going to create a global warming. Because of the global warming, so many problems we are keep facing. How do we mitigate such kind of things? What extent? Action plans. There are different departments has to work. It is not so many line departments are there where they can able to work together and then bring, particularly the architect's role is very big because industry, like building industry contributes almost 23% of the greenhouse gases. So how do we really mitigate and address in terms of the built environment, in what way we can able to bring it to the better conditions? This makes a lot of sense to us. Like in what way we have to do it. There are certain proposals, certain things like what exactly executed and made the environment in the better conditions, what we have seen it earlier in the Dhaka and then Bangladesh. Here what we have to see is in what way we can able to do, by doing that kind of a thing, in what extent it is going to contribute to the common good. The well-being, the theme of yours, first if you look at it, like retrofitting, like theme of yours, like rethinking of the built environment, even the well-being is what in what way we can able to bring better environment, better air conditions, better indoor air quality, better outdoor air quality, reduction in the greenhouse gases, and even in the pollutants and all other things we can able to make it by introduction of appropriate level of lung spaces, what is required in the green. Maybe a public space, maybe a space which is going to be like a green corridor which runs both the sides of the canal. Maybe the edges of the particular any water body where you can able to introduce the green space to the slopes and as well as a thick vegetation. All other items where such things which we have to see in terms of the pockets of very, very important and vulnerable for any kind of an activity, such kind of areas where we can able to bring it and convert it in a better form and better spaces where we can able to work out these kind of green spaces. So impervious surfaces, how you can see. What is that impervious surfaces? Like there are so much of paved area we are having. What exactly, how the floods and other things we are getting. There are problems what we are seeing is the paved areas normally it makes the runoff to one particular place where it has got the low level areas, low lying areas, highlands and lowlands. Lowlands are getting flooded. Even the cloud burst, because in what way the drainage system has to be designed. Everywhere there is a system like where you will keep the safety condition. For instance, for this speed, this much of meters per second, cubic meters per second of water has to be moved from one line to another line in a residential pocket. Street to street it has to be worked out. And where it has to be really get collected. The collected one, how much it is going to get absorbed. After getting absorbed, what is the runoff will start and getting flooded in different pockets. In what way we can able to do? Like in Indian context, the moment when you see in most of the cities, if they buy a plot, immediately the person will put a compound wall all around. The compound wall and the road is really covering the natural slope. How the natural streams are getting across. Even some places what we have introduced, you have a compound wall, no doubt about it. You build form whatever you wanted. But at the level of the floor, don't disturb the contours, don't disturb the natural flow. Make the perforations beneath the compound wall. Like, for instance, if you have a foundation, if the water is to cross the 2 or 3 lanes and go to some place where it's supposed to be get collected as a discharge point, then when you have the perforations, wherever it is, If you see in some other European conditions, they don't be any compound wall. They will have the total security systems for the doors and windows. In case if anybody trespasses, immediately the alarm makes a signal, goes to the nearby petroleum bank or to the police station. Because that kind of a digital and that kind of a connectivity or kind of a IoT systems we are not having. But what we have, whenever we take a small plot, immediately put a compound wall, and then if rains comes even beyond the normal minutes of 3 mm, 4 mm, 5 mm per hour, immediately runoff starts. The walls will really curb the general flow. Then roads can become a canal, and it is going to create a problem. Because in what way, like first thing is not to disturb the contours. Even if you disturb the contours, what way we have to do? We have to work out in what extent the water is going to be get collected. There is a method of really working out how many cubic meters of the water after taking the absorption. Absorption levels of different pure materials we know. The absorption multiplied by the area and to the intensity of the air, intensity of the rain. Maybe 2 mm, you have to convert it to the meters, you can able to get that quantity of the material, depending upon the surface materials what we use. This kind of a porous material, impervious, some kind of a things which really creates a problem. So the kind of materials and the discharge points in the same level, maximum extent what it is going to really make the underground cables where the water can take it to the discharge points, that acts to the maximum extent. Then depending upon the intensity, depending on the absorption. Reaching to certain saturation, that runoff starts. Even the first rain never gives any kind of a runoff to you. Then if it is getting rain, maybe after 3 hours continuously, it reaches to the saturation point, the earth may not be, the porous material may not be in a position to absorb any more water. Then the water starts flowing to the places wherever the low lying, depending upon the slope, and the slope points where and it really cuts to the different areas. That can be really, we can able to address at the built form level and to the residential neighborhood level and to the residential district level. That depends upon the total understanding about the terrain modeling. Nowadays what we are having, GS modeling, through that there is a terrain modeling we can able to do. How much, when case if you really work out 2 mm or 3 mm, 4 mm continuous rainwater, what are the areas it is going to get flooded? In what way the runoff will start? Slowly, if you keep increasing that kind of a simulation model, you can able to do it through the plugins in the JS or the JS. So proximity to the water is what we can able to see that. The rainwater, one is rainwater harvesting at a plot level, another one is the rainwater harvesting at a community level. What exactly the question comes to me, what is the community level rainwater harvesting, how do you do it? Plot level, like unit level, wherever the built form is there, from the terrace and the setback areas, whatever the water, rainwater, it is going to get collected. Then you will have the rainwater harvesting pits. If it is more than the pit absorbing capacity, pit also, depending upon the intensity, 4 mm, then for instance, it continuously rains for 3, 4, 8 days, 5 days. Then after certain time, the absorption capacity and the speed may not correlate to the extent where you can able to take the water by the rainwater harvesting pit. Then immediately the overflow water will be get connected to the community level. Community level means what? There is a parks, playgrounds, open spaces, institutional buildings, and the roads. These are the places also get exposed to the rain. Then this water, what is going to be really get collected to the nearby parks depending upon the slopes. The water entire thing, the overflow water, and all different sides about the economic division. Because EWC may be having small plot, HID may be having the bigger plot. Entire water is going to get collected. That overflow water is connected to the harvested rainwater channels of the community level. It takes to the low-lying area. In the low-lying area, where you will be having the pump to sump and over a time, even after filtration. That water can be stored. This is what the experiments also we have done it on other places, especially in Guntur, Vijayawada. And it can able to support minimum of 2 to 3 months of the piped water can be stopped, this water after 20 of the same colony having the neighborhood level of almost 1,500 plots. So these are the experiments we have done it. Because why I am saying is, that is how we have to think about, even if it is an overflow, there also it happens, it has a canal, nearby river or nearby canal or river, any other place, it has to be calculated. So that there is no place you will be in a position to say it is not going to get flooded and it is not going to create any problem to the particular pocket of the residential area or any other residential district of a town. So as you know very well, heat island effect. Why heat island effect is going to be? Because the exposed surfaces and the change in the climate and the temperature rise, especially in the summer season, the exposed surfaces means the facing materials or any other material also is getting exposed to the solar radiation and the temperature. Both the things put together, that is called solar temperature. Solar temperature is going to work like a filter or the surfaces of the materials. Through the conduction process, through the thermal behavior of the materials, the heat, the higher side to the lower side really goes in the form of the conduction. Higher side is outside, let's assume for example. Then the temperature and the radiation, both the things in the morning, it heats the surfaces. For instance, to just think about what exactly the solar temperature. If a pan, if you start heating, what happens if you are bringing closer to the hand, you need not touch the pan, once it comes very closer to you start feeling the heat. Reason is it creates a film of the heat, what the solar radiation continuously heating the external surface of the wall. At the same temperature together, the solar temperature is the one which is higher than the indoor temperature, so conduction process starts. And the conduction process also it has got a behavior of the material what we are using. That is a KOC value generally we say. Conductivity, density of the material and the specific heat of the material. With all these things, the time lag, sometimes depending upon the thickness of the materials, whatever we are using, it takes the time lag. Through the time lag, heat conduction process happens and it will have a direct impact on the indoor air temperature swings. Then according to the outdoor air temperature, similarly, indoor air temperature, outdoor air is also increasing. In the same swing, indoor air temperature also goes to the same type of curves. Finally, what happens is when the radiation came to the zero in the evening time, then only air temperature is going to work on it. Then that kind of a lag, what we have to work out, when we work it out, that lag, whatever it is going to be, once it is not going to get absorbed properly, that heat island effect is going to happen. So there are methods of understanding about the heat island effect. That is how the satellite images, generally we take it like 10 years back, what exactly the kind of a built form we are having. Similarly, presently the year 2024, what is the built form? That's how we can able to see that the GIS based modeling and then satellite image based kind of a heat island modeling if you do it, non-differential built form, like how earlier built form index and the present built form index, in what way, in what direction the growth has been taken place. Similarly, like a vegetation, non-differential vegetation index of 10 years back, what it was and what presently it is. That signature values for a particular software, whatever we give, it gives to us what is the density of the greenery, whatever we are having, how it is getting depleted. Similarly, the water. Water is getting depleted, vegetation is getting depleted, building index is level is making more, and surface temperature, LST, land surface temperature increases. Because of the places where we have got the built form, which the built form has not been addressed properly by taking into the actual architectural considerations. There are several considerations we are having. List of items I will tell you in the last slide. Architectural consideration starts from the understanding about the nature of the project and to the climate and the orientation. And there are so many items where we can able to make building more effective, more susceptible, and more withstand the kind of conditions what we have got where we can able to reduce the heat island effect. Generally what we generally talk about introduce, and since the vegetation index has came down, introduce the vegetation index. It's not that just simply vegetation index, if you increase it, the heat island effect is going to be. But it has to be worked out with the proper modeling. To do the modeling, we have so many other softwares we can support. But if you start working out the algorithms, you know how to write the kind of a logics in terms of through the MATLAB, also we can able to do it. But still there are certain immediate items in the market which is available about so many softwares. You can process through the softwares and you can understand what exactly heat island effect, building boundary level, street boundary level, canopy boundary level. There is a level of variations in terms of the temperature which generally we see. What is exactly heat island generally we say? The general temperature, if there is no building at all, it is going to be 20, let us say 31 degrees Celsius. That is assuming that there is no building, the temperature, where do you get the 31 degrees Celsius temperature? Outskirts you go. Nearby, the temperature goes up and afterwards it goes like a straight line. More or less straight line. Generally somebody may say, is it going to be exactly straight line like architectural line? It's not like that. Maybe more or less straight line. Means the more or less straight line is the actual temperature. When the temperature has gone up, because of the built form, the temperature has gone up. That is the one what we can able to work out. That is the area which we call like heat island, what it is going to generate. Sometimes cool spots also we have what, that's a different area, different domain to discuss about it. This kind of a heat island, even similarly if you see about the humidity, even in humidity you take the water molecules, because of the water and related to the depth of the surface, we can able to work out how much humidity it can able to generate. There are methods to generate and methods to work out what exactly the humidity once is coming closer to the water body. It depends upon the depth, spread, and the area. The area and the depth, water body, whatever we are having, we can able to work out how much molecules of the air, because of the viscosity and other properties of the water, we can able to say this much of humidity, relative humidity may go up. So humidity with the temperature, it makes the man's life miserable, person's life is miserable. So what we are the humidity when there is once you are not to have the better environment, higher humidity and higher temperature, immediately you feel like going for the artificial conditioning system. Moment when you operate the artificial conditioning system, it has got an impact on the energy and impact on the greenhouse gases. So that way, this is the climate change and the climate mitigations can be addressed. In what extent we can able to reduce the things of that nature. That is how the heat island effect, introduction of the greenery, introduction and then applying the different ways and means like where building can able to really reduce the building energy systems, maybe the facing materials, maybe the orientation, maybe understanding about the kind of environment what you have to bring it to the indoor temperature swings to bring it to the control conditions, like acceptable level of there are different type of things are there. One is unacceptable, affordable different conditions. What are the discomfortable degree hours we can able to work out for entire year? For instance, place like this in Vizag, I'm telling you, discomfortable degree hours may be very less. Some places like in Vijayawada, places like in Delhi and Haryana and any other place, Madhya Pradesh, discomfortable degree hours are very high. Then discomfortable degree hours, to bring it to the comfortable degree hours, how much energy you have to put it? Whether for the, some places like a composite climate, where you require some extent of heating in the winter, some extent of the cooling you require. Both the places we are using the energy, for heating energy, even for cooling energy. How do we reduce this kind of a discomfortable degree hours, either it is the heating side or the cooling side, to bring down the consumption of the energy level? That is the question. For that, what are the ways and means and role of an architect, how they look at the built form and built environment, and introduction of the greenery and the farm space and the other items and cross ventilation, and to have the ventilation, not to have the ventilation. To have a ventilation, what type of ventilation is required? Whether to take out the pollutants from the room, you have to take the ventilation. Whether to work out the number of air changes, you have to have the ventilation. To just study the ventilation, you require the windrows diagram. What is the wind direction? Whether you wanted to have the venturi effect so that wind some percentage of wind you can able to bring it to the inside the space so that number of air changes it can able to generate. If number of air changes to be generated, then outside temperature is 45 degrees Celsius, whether you will be in a position to bring outside temperature with the air inside? No. Because this is the reason why architect has got several challenges. Outdoor air temperature is 45 degrees Celsius, and you have to bring some percentage of the air inside the building. But the air, what it comes through the percentage of the openings, whatever you do. It is 45 degrees, definitely it creates a heat effect inside. It is not going to create any kind of a respite to you, so you will stop it. Similarly, outside temperature is -1 degrees temperature. Definitely you may not allow any air to pass through and create a kind of a cross ventilation. Then you require permanent ventilation. You require the passive ventilation. But depending upon the occupancy, so much of carbon dioxide released by the occupants, so that much of oxygen you have to replace such kind of a carbon dioxide through the oxygen, you require a kind of a number of air changes. There is another way of working out the kind of air chimneys and the openings. Openings not to the direction of the windows diagrams, what it says is the particular month. All the months you may not be really having that kind of harsh conditions. Where such month there is no harsh conditions, at the same time temperature also very less, there you wanted to work out the cross ventilation, such places you can able to work out. So that what happens is the conditions what we wanted to have it, we can able to bring it to the built form and building internal portions, like depending upon the occupancy, then you require a number of air changes. Depending upon the person's met units, means the more you strain, more oxygen is required, more carbon dioxide you release. In a gym or some other places, definitely number of air changes, it has to go for almost like 5 to 6. For a general residence, it may be 3 to 4. Air changes per hour. What I mean is, you must have heard about it. That's the reason I'm not giving much details about it. So this is how the heat island effect, we can able to look at it. So economic activities, what every item is like we have to think, especially in terms of the economics, how affordable it is. The affordability of one particular place may not be the same to the other places. Like our main target is to bring who are the really more susceptible such kind of things, or all the vulnerable groups where we have to look at it. Either it is maybe urban slums, or it may be the areas where dilapidated conditions we are shown to us in Dhaka. And then how it has been brought, because there are so many community level, community organizers' role is also required, making them to understand about to really work out a better environment to the different locations where there is a haphazard development has taken place, where there is a buildings which they have constructed dangerous to habitation. There are some buildings what we have seen in so many areas is dangerous to habitation. They may not be having the technical understanding and technical know-how. They may not be constructed in terms of such kind of a thought process and a proper way. So such buildings subject to any kind of a seismic attack, seismic conditions. Any kind of even a Richter scale, if it reaches to 3 or 4, immediately minor vibrations also may create and leave the slab from the beams and the columns. Then what happens? So what extent this economic activity, affordable groups we have to, the vulnerable groups and economic activity has to be, critically it has to be viewed. In a cities, specifically in urban areas, you have a different type of economic groups. Even starting from the economically weaker sections, LIGs, low income group persons and the MIGs and HIGs, all the persons are susceptible to the climate change. So for such people, you have to work out certain times, any layout or any kind of an exercise we are doing it, is there any way we can able to bring some subsidized system so that we can able to support the entire society. The societal values, because how sometimes we may not be in a position to reach to every level, reach to every category. So these are the economic activity, economic understanding. There are so many models we are having. PPP model, you must have heard about it. BOT models we are having. Even there are so many ways where we can able to see and draw certain unpopular groups or certain places where we can able to extend the kind of a facility to the others, to the subsidy systems and other things we have to work on. For that economy, land can be a resource. Like the way the kind of building inclusive societies European project of the sponsored project of 5 crores, we have done it recently. That is a building inclusive societies, addressing to the suppressed and depressed groups, and mostly not neglected groups in an urban areas. That kind of a built form where generally we see it looks like a blight. Blight, generally, if you leave it like that, it may even lead to a slum. Slum is nothing but just what we see is the declared slums, where there is no proper sanitation, proper ventilation, proper connectivity, proper health conditions, and all other items are together there in the work as a force there in the slum areas. For such kind of a places, how do we address it and bringing them to the mainstream of the world, mainstream of the society? For such places, this economic activity, economic related subsidy systems, and all other items, like we have to address it. This is also one important thing is why urban areas are susceptible for such kind of a climate change and such kind of unwanted environment, which is going to force everyone to have a difficulties and make the people, mostly they think that it creates an effect and it creates a problem to the inhabitants of that particular town. Social vulnerability, probably I have seen it. Then specifically when you look at this global connectivity, see TODs, now what we are thinking about it, other than the general like built farm and built farm related environment, what we think about it to bring in a better conditions to a particular town or any other country, planning and all other items. Other than that, there are areas where transit-oriented development, TODs. TOD means there's one area where people are giving a very big focus on that. A hub is going to get developed. Either it may be a medical facilities and supporting facilities to the medical items, what is required to the nearby settlements in the regional planning. In a region which is really missing, sometimes there may be a educational activity and then full like a township, just connecting to the highways and connecting to the district highways or national highways and closer to the cities. So that kind of a thing which it can able to give a facility to them, and then you can able to create a better environment to it. These are the transit-oriented developments also which is essentially required, and that is called, we can able to say, the global connectivity, the maybe airport areas, and the corridors, whatever it leads to the ports, corridors, what it leads to the airports. And then why it is so means that is the logistics of the goods, and then kind of an economy what it is going to get generated. Such areas, earlier we used to have in any built form developments or broader town level developments when we talk about it, not to encourage the ribbon development. Ribbon development in the sense, a development next to the road. If the road connectivity is there, then the entire that particular stretch, you can see one settlement to another settlement, the connected road fully, we can see both the sides, there are certain development. Then the development will start after 2 depths or 3 depths of its streets. That generally it is not a really advisable. Reason is it becomes a very heavy burden on the local bodies to provide the municipal services. Either it is a solid waste management, or it may be provision of electricity, or it may be a piped water supply. So that ribbon development we avoid. Now, just contradictory to it, now there is a new trend and new thought process. What we have is to have TODs. Transit, it's a transit corridor, connects to the very important economic hubs, maybe the port, maybe an airport, or maybe a settlement. So that particular corridor, you make a settlement. Maybe sometimes it works like a satellite town, or any time of new town, or with a certain activities which is going to fulfill the requirements of that particular region. So those areas also gives the global connectivity, global economy, GDP is going to be getting increased. These are the areas where specifically we have to look at it. Of course, green infrastructure, broadly I have covered it. Then given these vulnerabilities, now you can see this is crucial for the urban planners, even the policy makers, specifically the communities should adopt the climate resilient strategies in urban development and disaster preparedness. This is one item which we can, first part we ever keep thinking about it. Secondly, where we can able to focus more on how resilient contemporary these cities and the communities. And they are ready to face the multiplicity of the challenges, uncertainties in the future. Because decision making in uncertainty, there is operation research models we are having. we are slowly entering into the digital world. See, like I will tell you, you people may not be knowing, just 1985 or 84, we used to punch the cards for the computer, just to make the Fortran programming. Punch cards, we used to take a computer of this big, we used to give it to them in AC Tech campus of Chennai. There will be a big queue, electrical engineers, students, mechanical students, architectural students, all the people we used to stand in a queue. I'll tell you, like from morning 4 o'clock onwards, we used to be there in the queue. Because assignment, if we are not giving it within the given time by the professor, we get 0 directly. So we complete entire Fortran programming and punch the cards, computer cards. We stand in the queue and we give, it may be a normal, simple programming, let us say a plus b whole square. For that you have to punch 10 cards. Just I am telling you what is the a value, what is the b value, what is the ab, what is the square, and what it is going to be the s square plus b square to ab, whatever it is. It may be partial differentiation, it may be inverse matrix of whatever it is. A small thing also you have to generate, punch that on the 10 to 15 cards. Then you make a density gradient analysis of a big program. You have to do almost nothing but the entire do statement. Again, keep on repeating the do statement of the same thing. It really generates the digital analog way of giving the values and digital way of giving the values. That's how we stand. We give it to them. They give after 2 days. Then after 2 days, sometimes there may be syntax error. Some cards, the way we have punched it is not in order. Again, you remove it, put the card, punch it properly, and then submit it. Finally, after 2 or 1 week, just for a simple calculation, we used to spend 1 week. I'm telling you how you people are lucky. Then afterwards, even AutoCAD, you know it very well. First AutoCAD program has come in 1984. Omega draft package. If you wanted to save the file, we have to go for the C drive and save. If you wanted to retrieve the file, you go to the C drive. Have you heard about C drive? You go to the C drive and you retrieve the file and do whatever it is. For every command, you have to carefully see that one in case if it is so, there is a big problem. Then AutoCAD and the computers also, 286, 386, 486, these are the things slowly it has come. You know 486 means? Have you heard about it, 586? Computer, Pentium computer, that's what we used to say. Now everything is available to you. And a window-based, and then 3D models, AR, VR, metaverse, and artificial intelligence. Such a kind of a development within 10, 20 years we have seen. We keep seeing, and we wanted to, even myself, wanted to put myself in the proper track. You know how struggle it is at this age to learn certain things? Because we are coming from the card punching computers to the work what we can able to write the program in the MATLAB, where we used to do it earlier in the Fortran. Now we are doing the programs and other things in Java, and then we creating the face work and other things specifically to different softwares. Whether the internal mechanism of the software is right or wrong, how do we know? Unless you are not understanding about the science, you cannot understanding about the applicability of it. The method, the way the algorithms are working and giving the results to you, either it is a heat island, whether it is a GIS, or it may be subroutine programs, whatever we are giving. All other items you should have a clarity. It is not a rocket science, I am telling you. When architects means, structures means immediately we keep a building aside, we will go to the structural engineer. Why? Such a simplest thing is the structures, whatever I am telling you, to work out the loads, point loads, even including the very complicated buildings also we can able to work out. Even nowadays we are working out the pneumatic structures, where there is a tent structures, that's what I am telling you. A structure, a balloon kind of air we will put it and you go for the tensile structures. It's not at all difficult. Only thing is you have to have the mindset, understand about it, understand the logic, understand the theory behind that. The logic's only everything, even structures of other things. Why we make the students to understand about hands-on experience to make certain structures, certain kind of a built forms in the initial stages of the architecture. Reason is to, either it may be, sometimes we may give a matchsticks to stuck and make some kind of a space stress. Reason is, even it looks like a matchsticks. You know, like the way that studs and other things, the kind of a loads is going to be get distributed in a point, five-pointed stud. It's not that difficult, it is very easy. Only thing is you have to, moment when you give more time towards the creativity, then we think that why do we waste? It is only a mechanical work, any structural engineer can do it. No, we have to have the structural concepts and understanding about it. That is the reason from the materials and the mechanics to the final 10th semester, 9th semester, we are having the advanced structures. So that gives you very good, tomorrow's world, you should be a technical. And at the same time, you have to have the creativity, experiencing and understanding about the spaces, volumes, and wayfinding theories, cognitive theories. Now, even qualitative items also we can able to assess. The brain tracking, the way how person moves, how the direction can be made, what is the wayfinding theories, what are all the cognitive theories. We can able to understand a person is going to be there, how a person related to the scale, space, time, activity, it can be generated different type of a space. All items scientifically we can able to do it with such a support what we are having. Only thing we have to have a mindset in understanding about the things in what way we can able to observe and apply and see the results. Even the softwares also whatever we do, either through the Transys or the IES or Ecotech. Ecotech is outdated. Now we am talking more about the IES and Transys and other. Even outdoor environment you can able to think of what exactly built form and the vegetation and the different surfaces which you generate, paved, non-paved surfaces. You can able to work out the thermal conditions and the kind of an environment what we want through the NVMet software. NVMet software is giving, so many softwares are there. Even now there are time has come up to that. What exactly you want so that that particular software can have the plugins. Depending upon the context. Now you see the context of here in Mizoram is entirely different. The soil condition is different. Even though then when we talk about the hilly planning, how a kind of a stone falls down, whether it is with the bounce, that depends upon the slope. Whether it slides, whether it falls. If it is a cliff, the stone falls. If it is a slope of something like 20 to 30 degrees, it slides. If it is a 20 degree, if it is something closer to some 40 and above, I think it bounces. In case the stone, what it has got stuck to the other stone, if it is get relieved from there, in what way it will come down through the gravity and the slope makes the difference. And it makes the difference of this soil. Granite behaves different, laterite soil behaves different, loose moram soil behaves different. All these items behaves different and it will have its own bearing capacities, not like flat ground bearing capacity, whatever we work out. Once it is on the slope, the bearing capacity is entirely different because of the internal lateral forces. Lateral forces makes the difference. We have done certain works, that's the reason I'm telling you. You should understand the soil, you should understand the compactness. In what way you can able to really stuck the retaining wall, whether it will take it or not, that's the question. Sometimes you may make a big retaining wall, it may stand by its self-load, but it may not even sustain the lateral loads. Lateral loads for a hill of this nature, it need not be immediately. It may be somewhere else, some problem. It may generate a force here in this particular location because of the flow of the water. There are so many things are there. How we have to see it? Because there are science is gone to that extent, the softwares and our knowledge systems, even the metaverse and IR and VR, whatever we are keep talking about it, we should be in a position to use it very effectively in architects, the planners, and then even designers. Then you can able to see and you can command the profession. That is the reason we wanted to say what we say is absolutely correct. This gives the better thermal comfort. I saying that one earlier I used to say where I am not having the support of any software. I say it is much better conditions it will give. Now I will tell you what exactly the winter temperature, summer temperature, January, February, March up to the December, how these kind of materials, whatever I use, the phase changing materials and openings and the exposure to the climatic conditions, what way the indoor air temperature swings will work from 0 to 24 hours. We will be in a position to do it. Such an extent we have got the technology and science in our hands. So make yourself strong in those areas. Really you will enjoy your profession much more, better than what you are enjoying now. So how we plan built environment for climate adaptation resilience? More or less we are keep talking about the same only. The combination of the strategies is not like one strategy you work out and approaches aim to make built environment better prepared for the challenges posed by the climate. climate in India in the different climate, not to be seen as a climate of 5 zones. Climate, the zone, what it is getting changed to the another zone, that is called the different kind of environment it generates. The hot and humid is going to change hot and dry. Where it is going to be get changed? In a, just for geographically to mention, we made a line saying that one, this is the climatic zone of hot and humid, hot and dry, cold and cloudy, and cold and sunny are the composite climate. But whereas, when it comes closer to change into the another climate, the entire behavior of that particular area is different. Neither it is hot and humid, nor it is a hot and dry. Then what way I have to address? So there is no particular solution to one area. It has to be seen, that is the reason. If everywhere all the schools should have this is the kind of a design, means we can fit it, why we are not fitting it? Every land, piece of land, every location has got its own demand to have a different type of a design and different way it functions and different way it really works. So every area to be seen very critically, that is the microclimate of that one, you have to get the data of that particular area, then you should analyze. It's not that broadly you take the National Building Code material and start using it. All ECBC has given, these are the zones, these are the recommendations. You bring the wall to this U value, you bring the overall U value, overall comfort conditions, overall visited values. Not so at all. You have to be, you should guide the things. You should guide the client. You should know very well what you are doing in very with a total confidence, then you will enjoy your work. And that is going to give the proper solution to the challenge, whatever you are having. So that's what I mean, risk assessment and the data collection, land use planning and zoning, and the green infrastructure, resilient infrastructure design. These are the things, urban heat island effect, flood management and drainage, community engagement, early warning system, multi-sectoral collaboration. These are some basic items. More or less broadly we have covered it, but still I am telling you to conclude my part of it. I am just bringing it to your notice. These are the all items which we have to do it very scientifically, and we have to look at the things in a very, very critically, so that you can draw the solutions what is required to that particular context. So capacity building and training, that's what I am telling you. You see that is the one what we have seen. Capacity building, like in what way? To the person who is going to deliver the work, or the particular organization or the urban development authority where it is going to support at a broader level, or any local body and other places, they should have an understanding about the solutions given by the engineers and the architects is in order or not. First thing is they should improve their knowledge levels. They should be in a position to welcome the solutions whatever we give. That kind of a setting, mindset, if they wanted to have, means they should be knowledgeable enough to receive the things. That's where we really work out the training to the particularly corporation and panchayatis, and even sometimes we wanted to run the training to the bureaucrats also. This is where, no, it's not, they should not think that we are teaching something to them. It is only a common good, which it is going to be helpful to the society. So those are the things, like even maybe IAS, IPS, transport, like so many IPS officers we have trained in SPA Delhi by the transportation department. Like how the entire operational transport system, operational mechanism of the transport system, once it is keep changing it, in what way it is going to work, and how the entire other traffic is going to be organized. When a VIP movement is there, then immediately all the places, there is a big chaos. And how much money we are going to lose, how much time waste and other things like consumption of the petrol or any other fuels, all the things are there because it has got its own effect. So otherwise, what are all the ways and the other routes and where we can able to run the same thing, which is essentially also to be performed by the politicians at the same time, it should not affect the day-to-day life of a city or any end of the settlement. So that capacity building is very much required. And policies related to climate change. Climate change is not that only for an architect. There are nearly 20 line departments are working, agriculture and other irrigation and engineering, solid waste management persons and architects, built environment related. And then so many people supposed to be collectively, they have to work together. That is how the climate change, whatever we are keep talking, a resilient things we can able to work out. It is not by only individual. Though they say the building industry is not that one player. There are so many people are working in this area. There are minimum less than 20 technicians are there to construct a building. Even starting from the center line to the last terrace till up to that places, you can imagine how many different persons are going to work together, then only the building. Of course, design is by an architect, but whereas there are so many people are involved, in what way they have to deliver the work also makes the difference. That really going to create a big asset to us to understand and put them in a proper way so that we can able to reduce and create energy efficient and environmentally workable kind of a solution to the built environment. So public awareness, education, long-term planning, it's not that planning generally what we do, I was telling you it is for 20 years, but 20 years if you see, within a 20 years, just I'm telling you, that card punching to the present, we have come to the metaverse. There's a lot of change. In that change, tomorrow we don't know where we are going. You review everything every 5 years and think about the solutions what we have applied and start seeing things are in order or not. Then again, the direction, if you require the same direction is good enough, you go for the same direction. Otherwise, you revise it and put it in a proper way in what direction we can able to do. That's what reviewing of our own thinking, rethinking, that's what. The way I have seen the title itself is rethinking is essentially required for every 5 years in all the sectors related to the building industry. Architecture, engineering, implementation procedure, a type of a pattern CPM we used to work out earlier. Now those things have gone for the construction. Now it has come the Premavals. There is another software which really gives the risk assessment, financial risk, economical risk, the different type of risk it is going to give to us. So that taking into the consideration of these risks, we can able to see that what exactly the critical path method, what we used to say earlier, in what way we can able to achieve that particular building to be completed with the events and activities without disturbing, without even going up the time extension cases. So that's how we are looking at the even construction industry, architectural design, engineering expertise, planning procedures. All other items have to have certain program, that program in like short-term and long-term programs so that we will be in a position to achieve our main target of creating the better environment. So that's what integrating, and these are the things which are essentially required. How do we plan our cities? These are integrating and adoption strategies and urban planning processes that can enhance the kind of things which we wanted to make it, making the system or making the settlement more sustainable. So I will tell you because there are some of the exercises what we see is the building to the lot and block to the city and the region. That's how we generally look at it. What is this? It is not. What is that being? UDL, urban like boundary layer, like you say, can able to see. There are different, these are urban settlement itself, if you can able to see. The greenery, wherever the greenery, and then what exactly the canopy layer. UCL is urban canopy layer, and then that is the boundary layer. Within the layer, the simulated work we can able to bring it, what exactly the humidity, temperature, how it is going to influence the built form. With reference to the vegetation and to the built up area, in terms of the area got exposed to the environment. Here what we want is the area is got exposed to the environment so that we will be in a position to see. The urban microclimate is predominantly affected by the highly heterogeneous nature of urban environment. Specifically the physical structure, you can able to see the urban form, the heights and shapes and the building, and to the vegetation, all the things which we can able to work out with certain simulation models. I am not just telling critically what exactly the mathematical equations, but broadly I am going to say, where is this again? So what exactly the urban units we will say in a morphology, if you look at it, units are the first set, element, canal and block, neighborhood, local climate zone, and city and the urban area. And then built features like at a very micro level, we generally see roof wall road and residential buildings, high rise and warehouses and street and canal, means that kind of a one what we have seen. City block and canal, city center, residential and industrial, because these are the things about the features which we generally have to address. And what are the areas we have to look at it, the green and water features. These are the areas at a facade level, and these elements, what we take at element level in the residential building and high-rise level, we generally only look at the trees. And at a canal level is the line of the street, because that is a garden, because the scale is getting different from a smaller unit to the bigger unit. How do we really measure that scale? In what extent we can able to bring it to the micro to macro, like down to the top and top to the down, because this is the approach which we have to see, and we have to cross-check the things. Finally, like not to take much more time, it is the scale which we can able to see, and the phenomena what we have to work out. This is how it is going to give in this particular table, and the macro and the city level scale, which we can even see up to the extent of the urban region, so that even that roads and plums and clouds and precipitation and all other items which is getting. Urban design at the neighborhood level has a profound effect as the urban microclimate, and morphology can modify solar axis, wind speed and direction affecting the buildings and energy performance. So you can able to see broadly what are all the items which we can able to see: type of use, domestic systems, efficiency, space of heat and domestic hot water system. Every item together it is going to work, and which it is going to give parameters, and there are effects like radiation. If you look at it, albedo and emissivity it creates. Thermal, if you take heat effect and capacity and massive storage systems, it is going to talk. Moisture means what extent we can able to sealing of the evaporative surfaces and increasing the surfaces and less evaporation. Roughness is the roughness index, because all these items, when you make an algorithm, the algorithms which these are the going to be the coefficients which it is going to be get multiplied and gives the appropriate results to you. So that at least what items the particular software or an algorithm which it is going to look at it is this, just I have given. One is the radiation, another one thermal, another one the moisture. All other items put together, these are the equations. You can QHV, it has been mentioned, because it has got a different, the transmission of the heat losses, there is a big heat balance equation is there. For a building heat balance equation, generally what happens, heat transmission, heat conduction from all walls, 4 walls, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is entire build, there is no other, it is ever, this block itself is there, standing alone in a particular one lawn, let us assume. And then where the QW means Q walls of 4, Q heat comes from the surface, heat comes from the window, QW plus QW, heat loss through ventilation minus QV, and heat loss through the isothermal mass. This is nothing but isothermal mass. The heat what has been came through the conduction process, these are the surfaces are absorbing. Heat loss to the isothermal mass and heat loss to the floor. All other items, it is summation of entire thing. Put together, it is a solar thermal heat mass equation. That can be worked out with the kind of a, every item has got a different equation again. Then it can be a Fourier analysis. No time the heat is going to work for you. Specifically, I am telling you, it is not a steady state. It is a non-steady state. Continuously temperature is changing at outside. Here similarly, indoor temperature swings also will change. Only Fourier analysis can able to support you thermal model of a building of any shape you design. We have a program, we will tell you what exactly the temperature swing, taking into the climatic consideration of that particular zone, radiation, temperature, humidity, wind speed, and wind direction, and the surfaces. Like if you have got the green surface for 1 kilometer, then the kind of a wind comes from to you is totally different. With all these things, the thermal model we can able to make it. This thermal model made by the IIT Delhi. There are so many books, thermal engineering, if you can able to see, first itself is the model will come. Duffy and Beckman has given very clear information. There's a book called Thermal Engineering by Duffy and Beckman. Mostly people will follow that. That's how the entire programs are also based on that particular one. So what we can do everywhere, whenever we are talking about the QH, how the QH has come, there is an equation. All the things put together in the Fourier analysis means it has got 2, complex variables and real variables. Complex to complex, real to real, if you have variables, then you will be getting the coefficients. Once you get the coefficients, you can able to work out the indoor temperature swings. It can be done. It has been done. I don't want to go, that itself takes a lot of time. But whereas this gives you a broader understanding about how to heat thermal model can work at a broader level at a city level. Even you can see that if you have a doubt, there is one equation. So many temples of ours, sometimes we say, even churches or even other places, on particular day, the sunbeam falls on the foot of some god or goddess or any other person inside the Garbhagriha, inside particular space. How it will fall? There is a perfect equation you can work out where you can put a perforation only that particular day, the sun path and the sun elevation, altitude, and then at the same time, depending upon the path, it falls through the penetrated, through the hole whatever you have made, to the perforation what you have made, it falls on it. That accuracy we can able to make it nowadays. I want, like particularly sunrise is this is the structure at a beach road, I wanted to make it. On particular day, when the sun is setting in the east side of Bay of Bengal, this goes like this. If you are sitting, if you have created an amphitheater, you make the people to sit in that particular place, you can work out a particular structure where sunset also you can able to control on that particular day. So that extent of the calculus, calculations we can able to make for doing any kind of a heat island effect and heat susceptible materials for the heat, so that how we can able to reduce and bring the thermal comforts to the buildings. Sir, I have time. N is the built form, the sky view factor, aspect ratio, building footprint, impervious, pervious, height roughness, and terrain roughness. These are the important parameters. A built form of a cross section, if you work out, you can able to see like in what way we can able to work out all other items and bring the better conditions to the different regions, whatever fixed conditions what you want within the building. Within the building, you have to fix, these are the conditions I want. For such conditions, what is the orientation, what exact the opening sizes, what exact the heat transfer from outside to inside for different months and different seasons or different regions. Can you press? Okay. So the equations, what I am telling you, the local and neighborhood level, we can able to calculate. Now because of the shortage of the time, now I know how much time I can take. Okay. You see this is an interesting thing. Land, the LCZ means land cover zones. Land cover zones will be getting integrated. High density, there is a different type of a development will be happening. What type of a development we can have? High density and low rise. This is one type of development. Low rise means percentage of the coverage of a particular FAR, whatever you wanted to work out, is more. Density is high. Density, let us say 4.5. Yeah. Since it is a small room, my voice is all. Anyway. See, high density, low rise, and low density, high rise. There are different types. Low density, high rise means low density, the FAR is less, and the percentage coverage is also less, so that building height becomes more. So there is one way how you will control the building height, that is depending upon the percentage of the coverage, only it is going to be get controlled. 50% coverage means only FAR is 1 means only 2 floors you can have it, isn't it? That's depending upon the plot. If it is going to be 10% coverage in a 40 acres of land, let us say, I'm telling you, you can go for how many floors? So many floors you can go. But up to certain extent, what extent that temperature generally, whenever somebody says, today temperature or wind speed is 4 meters per second, somebody has said, or otherwise, let us say 15 kilometers per hour. It means what? The wind speed is particular level. What is that particular level? Meteorological department measures that particular level only at 10 meters height. But whereas my building is only two floors, maximum is 6 meters or 7 meters. My window is at 2.5 meters. How do I take that wind speed? What exactly been given to me that at the 10 meters level, there is a method of bringing the roughness index and the way it is coming at particular level on the surface of my window, what exact the wind speed I can able to work out. Through simulations or through algorithm. Once I know very well what exact the wind, it is going to be 5 meters, like 6 meters per second, I said to you. Then I can able to bring some percentage, maybe 2 meters per second, and once it comes inside, it can able to create a kind of a cross ventilation. To me, a number of air changes. So, these are the two, there are the three options. One is a large low rise, and other one is, there are two options, different options of the surfaces we are having. For such surfaces, what way we can able to do? Urban building energy modeling, there is some method is there. That is a physically based approach to simulate the thermal performance and space conditioning of loads and energy use on multiple buildings on an urban scale. These are the things, multiple buildings. This is a combination of the built land cover in a particular neighborhood. There are different combinations. One is compact, another one is scattered, third one is high density, fourth one is low density. And depending upon the surfaces where you can able to build. All these things you can able to model, and you can able to see what exact the indoor thermal conditions, in what way these things are responding to the climate. That is one important item. So building size, age, material, insulation, glazing ratio, window type, building energy systems, and the build form. These are the important micro level considerations. What we have seen, the one what I have shown to you in that modeling we can able to. Mitigation adaptation measures, generally green measures, infrastructure related measures, stormwater management, other items. We are just reviewing what we have discussed earlier, since we are coming very closer to our closing to our discussion. Oh, this is not very clear. I don't know why it is not clear. Building scale mitigation items, what it is going to see. Anthropogenic heat, general heat, how, why it is not clear. The components, individual items, what we can able to address at a city level. And that particular pocket, it talks about the heat dissipation in terms of the building. What are the specific items required for the, I think this particular material, whatever it is there with you in your laptop, you share it to all of them, whoever interested. So that this particular one can be seen very, it's not so clear, but I can able to tell these are the methods which we can able to work out. And other item, it is specific, it is at a city level. It is this one, what you are seeing is the micro level. And then when you see the slightly in a macro level items, there are, this is a building level, that's a neighborhood level, this is a building level. And items where you can able to see, there is a physical form of a building, and the shading devices, and building envelope, and energy efficiency, and other conditions, sustainable conditions. Further divided into the green roofs, like green walls, and vegetation around the building, because that's what, vegetation around the building also influences the, and it's like a kind of a, each building if you take it, once I know very well, around the building I have introduced deciduous trees in a composite climate. What deciduous trees are going to do anything to me in the composite climate next to this wall? This wall is got exposed to the southern side, where in a northern, we are at the northern hemisphere, right? Are we, India is a northern hemisphere, is it not? Equator ke upar hai na India? Above the equator only in India, isn't it? It is in the northern hemisphere. In northern hemisphere, whenever you see about the sun path, the sun appears that it's moving from the east to west towards the southern line. Means southern wall will always get the solar radiation. Because we are there at the northern hemisphere. So it moves like that. Winter sun with a lot of inclination, it moves very far. And summer sun almost closer to the head, it comes down. That is how generally it is a northern hemisphere. Even southern hemisphere, it may be other way around. Then where it can able to work. Especially this comes under I think one particular temperate, no? Temperate, what is that? Capricorn? I can't. Anyway, now we'll talk about the sun path only. So, especially then when the shading effect, when we wanted to look at it, this sun path is going to make a lot of difference to me. A small shade, small projection, when there is a sun is on my head, that is good enough. A small cap is good enough. But whereas sun is somewhere, it is an inclination, not exactly 89 degrees or 87 degrees. If it is there by 60 degrees, then I cannot keep a cap this much, no? Because 60 degrees is like, 80 degrees is this, and 20 degrees is you, like this. Because 20 degrees generally when it comes, it is only in the winter season, the sun will be very far. The far sun looks like reddish means because only the red light can able to come closer, it can travel long distance, so we are in a position to see the red or yellow. Yellowish. In sunset time, now you will be seeing yellow. So what are all the things it gives to us? It gives to us in what way we can able to shade our buildings. Shading the buildings makes a lot of sense to us, so that in hot and humid, hot and dry. And some places I said to you, I have a deciduous tree in a composite climatic condition. What exactly is the composite climatic condition? It is a summer requires some kind of a cooling. Winter requires some kind of a heating. Summertime, it requires some kind of a cooling. The deciduous tree will full of leaves. Winter, no, there will be a fall, then there won't be any leaves. It will be only branches. So the winter, that surface, because of the branches, there is no leaves in the tree, it allows the sun rays to fall on the surface of the wall. So some quantum of the heating, whatever you require, this deciduous tree will give you better solutions to the composite climate. Because winter, there is a fall of leaves, and summer, there is a full of foliage. So both the things, what is required to me, once the particular vegetation or a tree or anything is closer to my surface. So that way I can able to work out. How we can able to make an energy efficient landscape? There is a kind of a humid area, I cannot put the fountains because you will feel more humid. Only the fountains I will put it in dry areas, like desert coolers works in a place like where in the Rajasthan. Dry area, because desert cooler, the moment water molecules are there in the environment, you start feeling it is a very comfortable. Otherwise, from the body, so much of, to balance the heat, in a where there is no much of humidity, there is no water molecule in the environment. To balance our body, the water will come up to our surface of the skin. It is getting dried, it is getting evaporated immediately. Once it is getting evaporated, then you start seeing burning sensation. Once the humidity is more, already water molecules, so many things are there in the environment. When the sweat comes out, you will start feeling the sweat on your surface the moment you are doing any kind of a tedious exercise or anything. You will sweat like anything. Sweat is not getting absorbed. It is not getting dried because a lot of water molecules are there in the environment, so it is not getting absorbed. See, this is the reason, like these are the small logical items once you start understanding. Even building designing is also very easy, understanding about the comfort conditions for the humid and non-humid regions, hot and dry regions, hot and cold and cloudy regions, cold and sunny regions, number of sunshine hours, number of cloudy days, number of rainy days, all other items which it creates a change in the precipitation, change in the molecules of the water molecules presence in the environment, and the temperature rise. All these things gives to you very good understanding to work out our building and solutions to it, other than the structures. Structures is something different which we were keep talking about it, that depends upon the engineering related items where the solution you have given, whether it's sustained properly, it can able to workable in that particular location, whether the soil has got that kind of a bearing capacity, in what type of a design we are doing, type of a design we can able to do it. Nowadays, STAD is available, easily you can able to work out. So some of the things which we have discussed in this. Can you change this? I am coming. So same way only, the heat level mitigation systems like an urban level, the greening, and other one is urban anthropogenicity, and other items also we have made it. Conclusion, the highlights what the key issues why urban areas are susceptible, what we have seen it. how to design a built environment and climate adaptations and resilience, and approaches to climate resilience to micro, meso, and macro. That is what I said about micro level to the block level, the street level, and to the city level, at the neighborhood level, and to the city level. All the levels, once you have got a proper comprehensive understanding, the solutions will be more suitable, more workable, and more required solutions we can able to give. That is how mitigation and adaptation measures through planning and architectural interventions we can able to work out to give the effective and better solutions to it. So this is what come same, and items just generally, so roughly this is the final last slide only. Orientation analysis, shading analysis, thermal mass construction, wind tower, passive down drift evaporative cooling system, earth air tunnel, roofing system, roof gardens, roof and wall insulation, insulations of different in nature, trombe wall, cavity walls and cavity roofs, envelope shading, solar chimney, light shelves, daylighting and window sizing, atriums which it gives a kind of a open space and where you will be covering with the proper ventilation, passive ventilation, displaced ventilation, outdoor air quality, solar kitchens, n number of items where you can able to get it integrated in a building itself to give the better solar passive architectural consideration to context specific. It may be hot and humid, hot and dry. It may be any other place like where you have to understand where the green wall envelopes, the vegetation, aerodynamics around, aerodynamics, which you have to think about it, how it will work. If you have got a wind tunnel, we are having wind tunnel, I'm telling you, we put the built form and we can say in what area, how many meters per second wind will come. Once I simulate it, because this is the wind speed in particular direction, that direction where I wanted to have the cross ventilation, that particular month I wanted to have the cross ventilation, in what way I can able to orient the building, orientation with reference to the wind, orientation with reference to the sun path, orientation with reference to the different conditions. How do we overlay and bring out a acceptable solution to it? It varies from the location to location, and sometimes client to client also. He wants only that this is a kind of a condition, means only for that particular condition, one what we are talking about it, wind is only the solution to him means what. So one way we have to satisfy ourselves, the best solution we are giving it to that particular built form or built environment. And otherwise what happens is, depending upon the situations and the influences and forces and challenges what we have to the particular context, we have to work out. There are n number of ways where each and every item, whatever we are talking, is one day workshop. One day, full day hands-on workshop we can able to make it, so that to understand very clearly intricacies and approach to particular item and different locations and geophysical conditions and topographical conditions and the nature of the project and nature of the building, nature of the built form and the locational significances varies from, it will have multiple variations where you can address and you can finalize and you can give a better solutions as an architect. Thank you very much.
So on behalf of the organizing committee of the conference, I thank Professor Ramesh Rikonda for coming all the way here to the university for his valuable time and his effort towards sharing us his knowledge and interesting insights. The organizing committee would like to present gifts as a token of our gratitude and appreciation. Sir, I kindly request you to join us once again. And I would like to request our head of department as well to do the needful.
Lanka, Malaysia, Australia, Sydney University. So many places where main target is sustainable planning and sustainable architecture. These are the areas. And we have got the exchange program also. Students of Archaeogical, France, those people are coming to Japan. Stay there for 1 month. Similarly, my SPA students also will go and get some knowledge. That too during the holidays. For them, it is a working, it's not holiday for them. So like that, so many collaborations we are making. The subject of architecture is an ocean. Even today, I feel when I interact with the youngsters like you, I feel like learning something from you. Because you have to keep all the time, it is a lifelong learning, in fact. And you have to have that kind of a killing spirit to understand and bring new solutions and new research areas in this. Because this subject is really takes a lot of other areas. So with the SAR is there, she is encouraging, and then we will have the continuous interactions. Any item, whatever I said to you, because we have a simulations, we have got algorithms and models, and we can able to work out in case if somewhere we are not in a position to write a program properly, we can work out the subroutine program, the plugins of the existing programs we can able to make it. We can test and validate it, because reason is everything you have to validate it. Because if I say today this particular room with the given environment, this much of occupancy, number of air changes with the opening of that big window door opening, and some of the places it is happening is my simulation also should speak the same. In case the simulation result tallies and comes exactly the same to the infiltration what we are seeing, the slowly the door is opening. How the door slowly it opens, closes, because some certain thermal buoyancy we talk about it. That is the without we cannot see, but heat movement is hot without your knowledge, because we will not be able to slowly it is going down. So such kind of a thing only instruments and other things can able to measure and give the result. We can see and we can work out and we can have our own work, whatever we have done. Strongly we can say that what we have done is the best. So that kind of confidence levels one will have it once you really do the validation work, simulation. Sometimes you may say all these simulations are stories. Garbage in and garbage out. That's how some people may say. Whether that is it really garbage out or something really correct, that also we can test. Okay, best of luck.
Okay.
I am happy to share one information. Our first batch also we master here. Sir is running one very good masters in the system. If you are aiming for a masters, you can go to experience.
Okay, thank you once again, sir. With that, the keynote session for today has come to an end. We thank each and every one of you. And there's an announcement regarding refreshment for all special invitees and registered attendees. Lunch is served at the cafeteria. For students, lunch will be served at the same venue as where you had your refreshment. And the session chairs and presenters, if available here, are requested to take their lunch as early as possible. That is requested. Thank you so much. Session is dismissed.